Hi guys, welcome back to At Home with Holly. My name's Holly and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. Today we're going to be planting some seeds and spraying some trees. So we're going to start out inside today, planting up some seeds, and then either this afternoon or tomorrow morning, depending on, it looks like it's not supposed to rain today and it's warm, but there was a chance. And so if the chance goes up, then we'll wait till tomorrow morning. But we're going to be planting these seeds, looking at the weather, and then spraying our trees for the final time. We do an organic garden and an organic mini orchard. And so, well, the trees are mini, but the orchards, I think there's like 12 or 13 trees in there right now. So pretty significant. We're building up our orchard. But anyway, we do our organic spray treatment. And so we do our dormant oil and liquid copper spray that we're going to be doing. So we need to do the third and final spray on those. And then it is time to start some straw flowers and aster and flat leaf parsley. I'm actually late to the flat leaf parsley game. I forgot to start that a few weeks ago. So we are going to get some seeds planted and then we're going to head outside. So the first thing we're going to plant is our flat leaf parsley. I get most of my seeds from M.I. Gardner or Johnny's Seed or the guys at Epic Gardening. But every once in a while, I cannot pass up a $10 seed packet, right? So everyone, we were at Menards. We have Menards. I live in Northwest Ohio. We have Menards, which is like our lumber fix-it everything store. Anyway, they have seed packets for 10 cents a piece. And what else are you supposed to do besides get them? So we have our 10-cent seed packet from Menards. And so we are going to do some flat leaf green parsley. I don't use a lot of fresh parsley, but I do use dried parsley when I'm making some herb blends. So, and the parsley does kind of come back most of the time where I live. But just in case, I like to plant some new. And if it comes back and I don't need it, then I will plant it somewhere else and harvest and feed to my chickens. And if it doesn't come back, then we have it. So we have our parsley going in. And I'm not trying to super duper bury these seeds. I'm just going to move some of the Pro Mix around to cover them. So when I plant my seedlings, I use a blend of Pro Mix. I like the Pro Mix that has, what is it called? The micro rhiza in it. I use the Pro Mix. You can use anything you want to start seeds. You can use potting soil. It'll just have chunks in it. I prefer to use the seed starting mix because it's a little finer and it's a little easier for the seeds to push through. There is no nutrition in seed starting mix as opposed to potting soil, which usually has some kind of organic material, maybe even a fertilizer. So what I do is I add Trifecta Plus, which is a slow release organic fertilizer filled with like trace minerals and all the things you want for your plants. And so once the seeds germinate, that's when they start to uptake nutrients. And so I like to have the trifecta already mixed into the soil so that it's just there when they need it. So this is a mix of Pro Mix and trifecta, and it's been pre-moistened. So we're just going to scoot a little bit of that over to cover up the parsley seeds. The next thing we're going to plant is aster. So I have 3 different types of aster from M.I. Gardner. I have the, what is it? Valkyrie mix. I have the apricot, and I have the rose. And so we're going to get these planted. I think I've told you guys this before, but I wasn't always so excited about planting a lot of flowers. Because I just thought, well, I want to plant food. I want to grow food. I can't eat flowers. But I've learned that pollinators. Let me see. These are small, so I'm gonna flatten out the soil so that they get good contact. And I will just cover these with some vermiculite. Anyway, so I've learned that pollinators are what make your food be awesome and grow. And you have to attract the pollinators with the flowers. Then I also learned that I really like a beautiful garden. So having these beautiful flowers planted in and among my food has just brought more joy to me. And I know that this is a weird time in the world, especially in the United States, and we're all just trying to find some joy and some peace and a little bit of self sufficiency just in case we need it. So, having a beautiful garden that the pollinators enjoy being in is important to me. So, we're going to just lightly cover this, and then we'll add some vermiculite on top. Next is the apricot. And I do have all of these cells labeled because you always think that you're going to remember. But once they get tucked in, they all look the same. So we've got our apricot. Now when I leave here today, I am going to check the weather, see what's going on, see if we can spray the trees. And then also I need to run to Menards to get a few more pieces of lumber for my rainwater collection system that I've had the lumber, the barrels, and everything sitting in my garage for a while. Several months, if not a year. So I did too many in the first one. So I'm excited to go get what we need, and we're going to be building that over the next week or so as well. So I'll take you guys along for that journey. Okay, we have got our seeds planted. These two are empty. Okay. Next, cover these up. I would definitely not consider myself a worst case scenario person. I tend to try to be realistic, and anything that would maybe be something that I would be worried or anxious about, I try to think about, okay, well, if that did happen, what would we do? And anything I can do that's in my control to make it go better, whether that's having, I think COVID taught us that for the first time in my life, the grocery store shelves were not full. And that was a wake-up call to me on kind of how fragile some of the systems that we take for granted are. So definitely it's been a priority of mine to learn some skills and have redundancy in some systems in place. But also I don't come from a place of fear. I come from a place of like, wouldn't it be amazing if the stuff we grew tasted better than you could get on the grocery store shelf, so that, whether or not the grocery store shelves has it, we have it. And so that's kind of the place that I come from. And so if there's something that's in my control to learn how to do so that I don't have to worry about the what if, then that's what I'll do. And if it's out of my control, then there's not much I can do about that. So that's where I'm coming from when I'm growing my garden and just trying to do the best I can for myself, my daughter, and my local community. Okay, so the next thing we're going to plant is the straw flower silvery rose. I love straw flowers. I hadn't really planted them until, I forget if it was last year or the year before, but I am a fan. My daughter is a fan. They're just so cool, and they make a cool noise, and they're beautiful. So I am sowing lots of seeds because I can separate them once they germinate. And also I've got a very long fence line on the back of my property, and that is where I usually have like a wildflower patch, and I'm going to add some straw flowers to that as well. So I'm seeding a little heavy. But anyway, the rainwater collection is something that kind of goes into the number one, plants like rainwater, nitrogen filled goodness, better than the tap water. And I'm not on a well, I'm on city water. So it would be nice to have access to water that hasn't been, treated with chlorine and stuff for my plants. And then also, it's just more economical if you have saved water versus paying for it. So I love that too. I love that. So definitely need to put into use the things that I've been collecting, the rain barrels so I need to build the platform. So I'm going to go get the last bit. I was double checking my plans and I need one more piece of lumber. So I'm going to go get that, pick that up and have it here so I can build that. If it's rainy today, then that's what I'll do instead of spraying the trees. And if it's nice, we'll spray the trees and I'll pick up the lumber tomorrow. Okay, so definitely I am overseeding, but I really like straw flowers. Okay, I got a little bit of soil to cover these. You don't have to do vermiculite. I just really like to do it on top of my seedlings because I think it helps with over or under watering, which I do. Sometimes I overwater, sometimes I underwater, and this just kind of helps keep the moisture level just right. It helps to prevent some of the molding and bacteria issues on top. So I just like to sprinkle some on top every time I start seeds. And also if they need light to germinate, the light will come through this. And if they need to be buried a little bit, this also acts like a little bit of a burial. So there's really no reason not to use it. So I do. Okay, we've got our vermiculite on. We'll get these watered in. I just found these purpley red ones. I'm going to go ahead and throw some of these in some pots and make sure we start these purple red ones as well because I don't want to forget any pretty colors. This soil is definitely a little saturated. It does not need to be that wet, but it'll be okay. So I'm not going to water these 4 in. I'm going to label them, get them on the tray with their buddies. All right, that is all good to go. And we are going to go spray our trees, hopefully, unless there's a chance to rain, in which case we'll do it in the morning. So I'm going to take you with me. We're going to go take care of these trees. All right, I've got our sprayer and I've got our ingredients. And I took some white duct tape last time and marked on the sprayer that's dedicated for my fruit tree spraying regimen. The dosage and stuff, this one's almost empty, so I have a refill. I'm going to get this mixed together. It's not going to rain, but the wind gusts are supposed to be like 23 miles an hour. So I will walk you through what I'm doing. I'm going to mix these two together. 4 tablespoons of liquid copper, 2.5 tablespoons of horticultural oil. I'm going to mix this with 1 gallon of water. I'm going to douse the trees, spray them all the way up and down, tips all the way down to the soil. Make sure they are dripping, dripping, dripping covered. And I'm going to do that. This is our 3rd of the applications, and this is going to help prevent diseases like peach curl and fungal issues, and it's also going to help smother out any bugs that may have overwintered. So we're going to get this sprayed on our trees. I am layered up. You can see the sun is shining. I've got eyeglasses on so that I don't get spray in my eyes. Got a hat on so I don't get it in my hair. I've got an old sweatshirt on so that I can just throw it in the wash. And yeah, like I said, it's wind gusting outside, so I'll just give you a little glimpse at what I'm doing, but probably won't try to use the microphone because it's gonna get pretty windy. So let's get these trees sprayed. So like I said before, this is the third of the applications of the organic spray treatments that we're doing for our orchard. I've talked about kind of the benefits of the different sprays and stuff in other videos, but so I'll link that one below this one in the description. But it's not that hard to do. It just takes about 10 minutes of time. I just have to remember to do it when the weather's warm and use the last one. You just want to make sure you do it before the buds break dormancy. So I went ahead and got this done today. As I was walking around and looking at the trees, I was noticing so much garden cleanup that we've got coming up in the next few weeks. So I'll be sure to take you guys with me for that. But for today, I was excited to get this part done. Okay, got them all sprayed. That's going to do it for me. I want to thank you guys so much for all the likes and the comments and the shares. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye, my friend.